Welcome, family. Look, everybody, in this video today, what I'm going to be doing is talking about the hottest suburbs in Townsville right now. And look, no, I'm not talking about temperatures. I'm not talking about how hot each suburb is from a temperature point of view. No, I'm talking about which suburbs are red hot right now in terms of demand for residential real estate. So we're going to dive in, look at each individual suburb across Townsville and see how they're performing based on a bunch of demand side data. So I think if you're an investor or a home buyer, stick around. You're going to get some good value and insight as to what's happening in the Townsville property market. Let's dive in, guys. I'm super pumped about this one. As always, guys, I'm going to give my business a little plug here. So I'm the owner and head of research of Tropical Life Buyers Agency. We buy a lot of residential real estate in the North Queensland property market. We're based in Cairns, Townsville, and Port Douglas. So yeah, if you're someone that is struggling to buy, or you're an investor that don't really know, what some of the better areas to buy in Townsville or even North Queensland in general. If you're geographically challenged and you're just struggling and you're buying from a place of doubt, we might be able to come in and add a bit of value. So check us out on our socials, visit us on our website, give us a call, book in a time, and we'll have a quick chat with you to see if we might be able to add value and help you out. And again, guys, like this stuff here, I'm just putting together as community service content. So please like and share this video to your friends and family or anyone that you feel as though might need this insight about the Townsville property market before they go and buy it. Because I don't know any buyers agents that are out there literally giving away, what are some of the hottest suburbs in this marketplace are. A lot of them keep this information quite close to their chest because they're scared that they're going to lose clients and people are going to go buy directly in these markets. But I don't see it that way. I see if you can provide the value to the marketplace, you're going to get 10 times that in return. All right, let's dive in, guys. Now, as I said earlier, we're going to be looking at different demand side data of individual suburbs across Townsville to establish if they are hot and if they are not. And the 5 data points we're going to be looking at today is the median house price change, days on market, online search interest rates, rental search rates, and rental days on market. So all of this data, I think, is going to really help us understand and establish which suburbs are worthwhile investing in right now, which suburbs are basically right for the picking in Townsville. So with the median house price change, we're going to be looking at the last 4-month trend as well as the 12-month trend. What has each individual suburb done over this time horizon? We're going to be looking at the days on market for each of these suburbs. So which suburbs have the highest or lowest day on market? We're going to be able to establish what the demand like is there based on looking at the day on market number. We're going to be looking at the online search interest rates, and this info comes directly from realestate.com to see what a lot of people are searching for on their phones, which suburbs have the highest online search interest rate, because that often correlates into buyer demand. So we're going to have a look at those numbers, and I think you're going to be very surprised as to what suburbs leading the charge there. We're going to be looking at rental search. So what are people searching for online as well when it comes to places to rent, because that's going to give us an idea on where people actually want to rent and live as well. So you can target suburbs that have higher rental demand, knowing that your property is going to rent. And we're going to be looking at how fast are rentals sitting on the market for before they're rented, because if you're an investor, you don't want your property sitting on the market for too long, because that is cash flow out the door. And obviously we're going to be looking at this data, and if suburbs have a higher day on market or lower day on market, we can establish there pretty quickly if it's strong demand or not so strong demand. All right, guys, I'm keen to get this done. Let's go. Okay, so let's dive into some of these individual suburbs and see how they've been performing over the last 4 months and over the last 12 months. So I've summarized it here. Almost every suburb across Townsville continues to rise. The affordable and high end seem to be showing no signs of slowing down. So I've got a good cross section of suburbs here in Townsville, as I said, from the affordable all the way up to the high end. There are still a number of suburbs that are missing from this list, but a bulk of Townsville can be attributed to the suburbs. So there's only another half a dozen or so suburbs that aren't on this list, guys. But yeah, look, you can see what's happening over the last 4 months. You can see what's happening over the last 12 months for each individual suburb. And look, we can actually establish pretty quickly the rank here. It looks as though Rasmussen has outperformed every suburb on this list over the last 12 months, increasing by 8.6%, followed by, who was next? Followed by Mount Louisa at 6.8%, and then that was followed closely by Curwen. So they appear to be the top suburbs that have had the most median house price increase over a 12-month period. And very interesting there, because they all are very close to each other. In fact, Rasmussen's not too far from Mount Louisa, or the right side of Mount Louisa, or the western side of Mount Louisa, and then obviously Curwen flanks Mount Louisa as well. So there's a clustering of those suburbs that appear to be very popular in Townsville and are outperforming the market, as we can see here. But it's good to see, look, all of these suburbs across Townsville over the last 4 months hasn't lost steam towards the back end of 2023, all going up still. And over the last 12 months, yeah, these suburbs are roaring along. And obviously, guys, each suburb has different entry points in terms of price, different stock level, different stock qualities, different demographics. So if you are going to invest in any of these suburbs, just go in and do further due diligence around each individual asset and each individual suburb. But as you can see, you're getting some good confidence here that the market and all of these suburbs in particular is rising across Townsville. Yep, there you have it, guys. The change in median house price over the last 12 months, Townsville is roaring along, and many individual suburbs here doing some terrific numbers. All right, let's have a look at some of this demand side data now. And the first demand side data we're going to be looking at is days on market. And that's really going to tell us which suburbs are hot and which suburbs are not. Obviously, the lower the day on market figure, that means the hotter the market is. That means that things are selling very fast. And the higher the day on market figure, things aren't selling as fast. So we can see here that Mount Louisa appears to be selling the fastest, well below the average days, followed by Bowley Plains, which is currently taking the longest to sell. So Bowley Plains sitting at 34, and we have Mount Louisa sitting at 15. Wow, so there's not a huge variation between number 1 and number 12, which is very interesting, because in Queensland, right, the average contract period, let's say from when a buyer puts it under contract to when they settle, is around 35 days anyway. So Bowley Plains is sitting around the average anyway in terms of how long it takes to sell a property in Queensland. And that means that for Bowley Plains, most properties are still selling there within the first few days of going to the market. So that is a very hot market still, even though it's sitting at number 12. And then when you start to see markets like Mount Louisa at 15, that just goes to show that things are literally sitting on the market for a day or a couple of hours before they're going under contract. But that also means that a lot of people are operating in this marketplace, offering unconditional contracts and settling very fast. So settling much shorter than 30 days or 35 days. And this is often the people that are cash buyers in the marketplace. So extremely hot marketplace, right? Across Townsville here, basically everything below 35 days, and many suburbs below 20 days. So I suppose if you're an investor or a home buyer and you want to buy in some of these individual suburbs, man, you have to be pretty fast, because things are going under contract very, very quick. And I guess if you are looking to invest in this market, what you can establish now from this data is which suburbs are in very strong demand, so you can figure out, okay, if I can get a property in this suburb, I know that the demand is strong there, and I can potentially make money over the short and medium term. And then if the fundamentals are good, you're ticking that box, then you can make some money over the long term as well. So basically, if you look here, everything that's red, this dark red color is the red hot suburbs right now with the really low day on market trend. Everyone in the orange is sort of warm, and then everything that creamy color are the cooler suburbs. But look, guys, across the whole marketplace, all of these suburbs, it's a very hot market still, even with number 12 sitting at 35 days, which is well below an Australia-wide average of around 60 days. So Townsville is a hot market in general, and then when you start to dig down deep into these individual suburbs, you can see that stock is turning over very, very fast. Okay, online search interest rates. So, what are the most popular suburbs on realestate.com or Domain? So, what are people searching for on these platforms? So, Real Estate and Domain actually collate this data and pass it on to people like myself and you as an individual investor for free if you just jump on the suburb profile tab. It's actually going to give you this information. Yeah, so you can even cross-reference that, jump on and check out Kerwin or any of the suburbs you're looking to invest. It's going to give you a breakdown of this search interest rate. And obviously, the higher the search interest, guys, the I'll probably say the higher the demand. So often, people that are searching in different suburbs, that translate into buyer demand, I believe, as well. But these figures, they're often, can be seen as quite indicative as well, because not all of these people that are looking at that point in time are buying. There could be a lot of window shoppers or people that are looking to buy maybe in 6 or 12 months. So it may not be an accurate reflection of their buy demand right now, but it's still a good indicative data. It's still good indicative data to diagnose what the demand looks like anyway for a particular suburb. So we can see here that all these suburbs in red are the ones that have the highest online search interest rate. We can see here that the list is actually dominated by Kerwin, and that's really outperformed the marketplace here, followed by Mount Louisa, which has about 600 unique views less than Kerwin itself. So these appear to be the hottest suburbs right now that have the eyeballs on realestate.com and Domain, then followed by Douglas, Bushy Beach, Birdell, Kurrajong, and then the rest all seem to be sort of idling below that 700 unique views per property. So guys, look, take this information with a grain of salt, but I always say, when you look at this demand side data, it gives you an idea of what people are looking for and where the most demand is. So if you can buy in the suburb, that there's a lot of data backing it up that it is a suburb in strong demand. So if you buy in that suburb as an investor, you can potentially capitalize on that demand and get some really good short, medium, and long-term capital growth. But there it is, guys. So we've just had a look at the demand side data, really breaking down which suburbs are hot and which suburbs are not from a purchase point of view, so where people want to buy in Townsville. Now what I want to look at is the demand side data around what people want to rent in Townsville, because this is another important part of the equation, particularly if you're a property investor, to understand the rental demand levels at a suburb level, because that can really determine the type of cash flow you're going to be getting in for this property. Obviously, the longer your property sits on the market or it takes to rent means that there is a lot of money being left on the table. So as we can see here, Douglas is the suburb renting the fastest in Townsville with an average time on market of 16 days. And in fact, actually that's on par as well with Mount Louisa at 16 days as well. So it's taking on average 16 days for a property manager to select a tenant and get them into a property in Townsville. So that's the suburbs that are moving and turning over the fastest from a days on market point of view. But everything in red, as we can see here, Mount Low, Kerwin, what else? Heatley, Adalia, Condon, Birdell, Kurrajong are all very red hot suburbs that have really strong days on market numbers here, where things aren't sitting on the market for very long. And in fact, all of these, across the marketplace, particularly all of those that are red hot, are sitting well under 20 days. So it's not taking long for property managers to identify tenants and get them through properties. And look, if we actually looked at this from a state average point of view and an Australian average point of view, the average days on market, let's say at a state level, so across Queensland, is generally around that 32 days it takes for properties to go under rent, and across Australia around that 35 days as well. So Townsville is really outperforming the Queensland market as well as the Australian average as well. So things are turning over pretty fast and frequent, and it looks to be a market where it has a lot of people interested in renting in Townsville. I know that the army base, there's about 400 soldiers, established soldiers that have been on the base for a couple of years there now, that need to vacate the barracks and find rentals within Townsville. So that's obviously going to spill over into the rental market, into the buy market as well, I think, over the next coming months. And that's really going to, I think, even drag down this down market number a lot further. But if you think about it, you put a property under contract, you settle in 30 days, you market the property with your property manager, you vet those potential tenants, and you get them through. So give or take, you have roughly around 2 to 3 weeks there where you're not getting any income. But my advice to anyone that you're uncomfortable with having that property sitting on the market or not having that income for that 3-week period, my advice to you would be talk to your property manager once you've got an unconditional contract. So once you've got your finance pre-approved, once you got approval, formal approval from your bank, and once you're satisfied with the building and pest inspections, so you've addressed those 2 clauses of contract, you're happy with those, and you want to move to an unconditional contract, I would then start to make arrangements with the local property manager then, so they can start advertising your property before it even settles. So after settlement, you already have a property manager in place, and you already have a tenant in place, and literally from the day you settle to the day a tenant moves in can be the best part of only a couple of days. And we've always done that for our clients to make that time frame or that days on market number as low as possible, because that means cash flow out the door. So we get the ball rolling straight after unconditional contracts and get those tenants in directly after settlement. So my advice is for you to do that as well. But look, guys, if we looked at what suburb has the highest day on market number, it's a Woolloomooloo, and that has 23 days. So properties are sitting on the market there for close to 3 weeks. So not a high number, but gives you some really good confidence that even across the marketplace, where Woolloomooloo, sitting at number 8, still is well and truly under 30 days on market as an average, which is very, very good. But yep, guys, that's a breakdown of which suburbs have really low days on market numbers in Townsville. Okay, the next rental demand side data we're going to be looking at is the online search interest rates. Similarly to where people are searching on realestate.com or Domain to buy, we're going to be looking at this data of where people are looking online to rent as well. So what are some of the most popular suburbs? And we can see here that Curwen currently has the highest online search interest rate for people looking to rent in Townsville. So Curwen here, number 1, with 1,042 unique views per property, followed by Douglas, which is number 2 at 721, and that's a significant drop there, the best part of I suppose 300 people less than Curwen. And then that's followed by where's number 3, Rasmussen, number 4, Mount Louisa, and number 5, Birddale. So those suburbs appear to be the ones that have the highest online search interest rate across the marketplace, and then everything else is sort of on the cooler side, where there isn't as high search interest rates, such as you have Mount Low here, which is 11th, and that's quite surprising, given that we bought a property in Mount Low 3 weeks ago, and we had that rented in the first 2 days of it going online. So interesting to see that data there at such a low point, but nonetheless, you can really gauge where people want to rent in Townsville by looking at these numbers here. And again, similarly to the online search interest for people that wanted to buy, I like to always say this data is indicative, but it still gives you a good reflection on where people are looking to rent in Townsville, and it gives you as an investor really good confidence knowing that, hey, if I buy in Curwen, again, if I buy in Douglas, at least there looks to be a strong rental demand and good rental depth there. But in saying that, guys, when you compare these numbers to the previous slide, where most properties were renting really across the marketplace less than 22 days, down to as low as 16 days in Curwen, and I think it was Mount Louisa, that these numbers relative to those suburbs are still pretty good, right? Relative to all these suburbs, I think these numbers are very good, because if you think about it, a lot of these suburbs would have listing velocity of, I'd probably say around they're all sort of vary, but I'd say on the higher end maybe 20, and on the lower end maybe 4 or 5 properties coming on the market for rent each month. And when you have this much rental demand and such short supply of stock, there's a massive imbalance there. So I think across the marketplace, despite if you see these low numbers like Woogaroo, 12 only at 300, don't get too don't read too much into that, or don't get too down on yourself. If you buy in this market and you see that data and it looks like it's quite alarming, no, it's about how many opportunities are actually coming online each month. So if Woogaroo only has 2 or 3 properties available for rent on the market in any given month, but there's 300 potential people looking, then that's a major imbalance. If Woogaroo had 300 people looking but had 60 to 70 properties coming online in that market looking to available for rent, then it's not so much of an imbalance there. That supply is in line with demand. So have a look at each individual suburb and the amount of properties available for rent, and then try and analyze based on this online search interest rate whether or not there is an imbalance there. And I think more often than not, despite those figures being low, you'll find that there is a significant imbalance. All right, family, thank you for tuning in. I hope you got some value out of what was covered here today. I think it was some good insight to basically unpack individual suburbs and look at where the buyer demand is in the marketplace at an individual suburb level, and then where the rental demand is across the marketplace of Townsville is as well. So thank you for tuning in, guys, and I hope you got some value from that. Again, if you are someone, an investor or a home buyer that is struggling to navigate the Townsville property market, feel free to reach out to me and the team. You can find us on that website, give us a call on this number, check us out on our socials. Love to help you out, or just connect for an initial chat to see if we might be able to add value. We've been buying a lot of properties in the Townsville marketplace. We've got a lot of visibility of pre and off market opportunities as well, so we might be able to sort of get you ahead of the curve there as well if you're looking to buy in this marketplace. Again, guys, like and share this video to anyone that you think could benefit from this content. Leave a comment in the comment section if you are unsure about any of the information that was covered in this presentation today. But other than that, guys, again, I will see you on the other side. Thank you for tuning in.